Hi, guys. My name is Mike Crosby, and for many of you, I've had an opportunity to communicate by email. Some I've talked to on the phone, some I've met in person. I want to thank everybody for visiting our Flowers River website. I wanted to do a short section on flies that you should be prepared for on your trip to Flowers River, because we deal with it all the time, where people spend a fair bit of money to come and visit us, and then are totally unprepared as far as flies are concerned. So, with that in mind, I wanted to let you know that there are a number of patterns that work really well on the Flowers River. They're outlined on our website, and those are the ones that you should concentrate on when you're coming. It's our policy that we're going to give every guest a dozen flies when you show up at the river, but a dozen flies really isn't very many. So I'll take a second. I'll run through a few of the favorite patterns, and on our website also, there's a space where you can contact Daryl Burry, who is one of our guides and a great fly tyer. If you've got questions on flies, would like to order flies from him, do it midwinter. Do it now or as soon as possible, because Daryl may not have a chance to do all the orders that he gets. Okay? So probably number one in our patterns that we use at Flowers River is something called a blue charm. Very simple. That this blue charm is an adaptation of the original blue charm. This model has a green butt. A red butt works particularly well as well. And they really, at Flowers, we use flies in sizes 4 down to number 12. If you were going to put together a half a dozen flies or a dozen flies in a particular pattern, you might want one number 4 and 2 number 6s, 2 or 3 number 8s, a couple number 10s, and one number 12. You want to be prepared for high water and low water. So as you can see, I've got quite a bunch of flies here in front of me, and this is my collection, or part of my collection of flies that I would bring to the river. So there's not a lot of different patterns, but there's a lot of bulk in those patterns, so that I'm prepared. I don't want to be on the river and have something that's working really well and realize that I just lost the only one that I had. So blue charm, probably number one on our list, both with a green butt and red butt. Then we have a fly called a green glitter. Now, the green glitter is something that I have to take credit for, that I came up with years ago. Works really well anywhere in Newfoundland and Labrador. Works particularly well on the Flowers River. Same thing again, an assortment of sizes, down as far as number 12, up as big as number 4, but really the meat of the flies that you want are in the middle. Now we've got the blue charm, the green butt. Constant favorite amongst anglers is a regular green butt. This is a traditional pattern that's been around for a long, long time. On all of these flies, I personally use moose hair in the wing. And I would suggest that that's probably a good route to go. Seems to work for us, and certainly works for our anglers. Now, I'm now getting into an undertaker, okay? And I've tied this one with a blue throat, and this is a tiny one. This is way down on the size number 12. That we're talking about. And sometimes in low water, these very big fish on the Flowers River like little tiny flies. So don't be scared to tie in some small flies. I will say this as well. Most of the flies that I'm holding up are tied on upturned eye black iron salmon hooks. We hitch most of our wet flies at Flowers River, or a lot of them, and that upturned eye black hook hitches better than a downturned eye bronze hook does, or a downturned eye black hook. So try to get them tied on an upturned eye black hook. So now we've talked about the blue charm, the green glitter, the green butt, the undertaker, and I would be amiss if I didn't mention the thunder and lightning. Thunder and lightning, again, one of the favorite flies on the Flowers River. Same thing, same sizes for those as well. You'll see that there's quite a pile of this green butt bug over here, and I'm not sure exactly what we call it other than a green butt bug. It may have one time started out to be a green machine. We've added some crystal flash in it, made the butt a single color in the fluorescent green chenille. And this fly, you can tell when I have a giant pile like that, you know that it's one of my favorites, and a guy that fishes in Labrador all the time. And so that would be a must in your pile too. So really we got a half a dozen or 7 wet flies. And in the dry flies, important to understand that the water in Flowers River is clear for the most part, unless we get a big rain, turn color for a day or so. But for the most part, the water is pretty much gin clear, and the salmon there love dry flies. So come well prepared with dry flies. Number one favorite on Flowers River is a fly called the bee. which is a deer hair bug or bomber, tied with black and yellow, with a black and yellow body. We put white tails on it. The original, I don't think, had white tails, but we put white tails on it. It's a little easier to see on top of the water. And again, in the bombers, a little bit different. They're tied on a downturned eye, bronze, generally streamer hook with a long shank. And we would say that, you know what, 4 would be a big one, 10 or 12 would be a small one, and again, concentration in the middle on the 6s and 8s. Okay, so that is a great fly, and it can be tied all as a bomber, which is, you know, got the hair coming out both ends, or just as a normal bug. Boy, that's hard to see. As a normal bug with the deer hair only coming out one end of it. And you'll see also we've got an assortment of other different bugs in different sizes. Brown bugs with an orange hackle, brown bugs with a brown hackle, green bugs. And so you may want to come prepared with, again, half a dozen or 8 bug patterns and bomber patterns in various sizes. And you know, we'll do the best that we can to help you at the camp. But really, 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 I can't stress enough that you should come prepared and get that done well in advance of your trip. In case anybody was a little overwhelmed, the selection of flies that I have in front of me here, and there's a lot here, you know, probably a few thousand flies. Just want to let you know, I don't expect you to bring this many flies to Flowers River. Last year I left home on the 28th day of May to go to Labrador. I didn't come home till it was almost September. I have a very understanding wife. And so I bring a lot of flies with me because I'm gone for a long period of time. For you that are going for a 6-day trip to the Flowers River, it would be comfortable if you had 4 or 5 dozen flies in addition to what your guide will have and what we're going to give you when you get to the lodge. That would probably do you. I just wanted to make sure you knew it would be a concentration of only a half a dozen or so different patterns, okay? So that's it. I want to thank you for your time. We're going to enjoy having you at Flowers River. We hope that you catch a great big one when you're here. And hope this little introduction to flies has been a help. Thank you so much.